Welcome, everybody. How is everybody doing tonight?
Happy Tuesday!
That's right. Welcome. Happy Tuesday is correct. Tonight we are going to be doing a movie review on the live-action Pinocchio.
You guys didn't know that Matthew was in the movie, did you?
That's right.
It's an actual shot from the film. It got deleted.
It did.
But, just wanted you to know.
Groovy. So how is everybody doing tonight? We are here. We're live.
I didn't know where you're going.
I don't know.
We are, in fact, here. If you couldn't tell, we're here.
That's right.
And like Dan said, we're reviewing Pinocchio. Do we really need another remake? Did we need it live action?
Was this better than the cartoon? Was the cartoon better? Was the book better when it was made in 1883? I think it was.
I feel humiliated and ashamed as a book nerd myself, who always prides themselves on being very well read, knowledgeable. I did not actually know that this was a book. I should have known. I guess I just thought it was like a folk legend, which I guess comes from books, but I didn't know it was an actual book. Now I feel sheepish.
Look it up, Tabitha. Look it up.
Have you even read it, Dan? Have you even read it?
I've never read it.
Okay, I don't feel too bad. But you did know about it, okay.
I did know about it, yes.
Yeah, well, shame on Tabitha.
It's kind of like, it's like Peter Pan, it's a book. Right, and then everybody made movies off of it, and there's like 500 different variations of the movie.
I have yet to read Peter Pan. Yeah, well, of course, pretty much all of our fairy tales have come from either legends, myths, or books of some kind. So,
and Pinocchio is no. Oh goodness, what was I going to say? Not different than that. It also has hundreds of variations, not just by Disney, but Disney is more prominent, I think, on these types of stories.
Oh yeah, they have their reputation for taking folklore and turning it into magical children's movies is incomparable to anybody else. They have that history, and it's a good history.
That's right.
Until now.
That's right. Let's say hello, I guess, to a couple of people. Galaxy Garage, how are you? Thanks for showing up. What a faithful guy. He's been coming and watching for a long time now.
He's the bee's knees.
I like that. Uncle Mike is here. What's up, Uncle Mike? And then we got Celebrity Jeremy saying, "What's up, everybody?" And then we got a bunch of lurkers, apparently.
Lurkers, our favorite people.
That's right. Thanks for lurking. If you want to say hello, you can. There's no shame in saying hello.
And if you don't want to say hello, there's no shame there either. We appreciate you being here.
That's right. We appreciate you watching while you're doing something else.
Now, you're allowed to lurk and not say anything as long as you hit the like button, okay?
That's right.
All right. That's just the only thing. If you're going to lurk, you got to hit the like.
All right, so let's get into let's show a beautiful trailer, I guess we could say.
Yeah, if you guys aren't familiar with Pinocchio, we're going to show you some snippets of what to expect should you decide to watch this film.
That's it.
Of course, the colors and things like that. I mean, I'm kind of jumping ahead of here, but colors are pretty beautiful, I'd have to say.
Yeah, they're nice, A
lot of that Disney blue in here.
Let me full screen this thing.
Full screen ahead.
See it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the eighth wonder of the world. The one and only Pinocchio.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it for a second. Okay.
Don't know where to start, right? I think we're just gonna jumble our categories here.
Oh my gosh, yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. The guy who played, what was his name? the guy that just said Pinocchio, the gypsy guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Oh
goodness, I forgot
shoot!
his
I
name.
know his name. How do I not know his name? I know his name.
I know who knows his name too.
Stromboli.
Stromboli, that's right. So this guy, he's got like a half Italian accent, half Russian accent, half something else. I don't know what's going on with him. But it sounds like me when I try to do an accent and then it just gets mixed up. That's just me, you know.
Some people are just not good at accents, or sometimes I will say that you will have, if he's supposed to be a gypsy or part of the Romani community, I mean, since they travel from place to place, they do pick up different like accents, different dialects, right? So maybe I doubt that's what they're going for. I'm gonna just go for like a benefit of a doubt that this is why the accent is so horrendous to our ears, is because maybe it's a compilation of different...
just a bunch of stuff. That could be.
Maybe.
Yeah. Why not?
We'll go with that.
Obviously, it's Disney.
Hello, Pops.
I don't want to play the whole thing to get copyright claim or anything.
An almost real boy.
Almost real boy.
Yeah. I like what Celebrity
saying?
Jeremy says. He's a classic foreign guy accent. Exactly. As long as it doesn't sound American, he nailed it. Right?
That's right.
That's all that matters. That's right.
Well, we're stopped here on this shot. I don't understand why they added a couple of new characters in the movie, because the cartoon doesn't have it. The movie doesn't, like the books, I don't believe have it. I don't understand why they added people. I don't know.
Well, I mean, on that note, I mean, if you want to, we could just kind of focus in on acting right here. It's, actors and everything. So we already talked about horrendous accent here. I think just let me backtrack that just a wee bit here, is the fact that there are so many different accents in this film, right? We're supposed to be like in Holland. Am I not mistaken?
No, it's supposed to be Italy. Yeah,
okay, because Italy. Doesn't somebody have clogs in this, like in the original cartoon? I'm looking really quickly. I thought, because I know Geppetto is Italian. Right.
Geppetto is from Italy. You got Pinocchio. You got Figaro. I could
have sworn somebody had clogs in this movie. Okay, maybe I'm mistaken. Well, anyway, so we're supposed to be then in Italy, and Tom Hanks doesn't have an accent. Pinocchio doesn't have an accent.
Right. I mean, I think he tried doing an Italian accent, but it wasn't really that great. It was more like his voice.
It was the Chris Pratt accent. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It's the Chris Pratt Italian accent is what Tom Hanks was, I guess, doing here. But it just like that part, and then you have the cat and you have the fox and everything like that. There's so many different accents in here, and I do remember that in the cartoon, not necessarily everybody had the same accent, but I think because it's a cartoon, you can give a little leeway, maybe. I don't know. A lot of people nitpick these days instead of letting the magic unfold. But again, you've got a weird accent from Tom Hanks. You got a weird accent from Stromboli, which I don't think, did they even call him Stromboli in the movie? I see here when he's listed as the character, it's Magnet.
Here's what I don't understand either is since we're on acting and talking about all these accents and everything, that lady, the chick there with the chick Muppet, or whatever,
right, yeah.
She had she was supposed to be French, I guess, but when you first see her and she's doing this dance and singing, that was very Spanish Mexican style singing and dancing. Why would they mix that with French? They don't.
Well, they did, even in the cartoon, they did mix nationalities in the show.
Right. I get that.
So maybe that's the reason why. So they were showing a lot of the diversity of the different nations and stuff like excuse me,
I don't know. Yeah.
part of that. And then, but like I said, and then even the Blue Fairy has a different accent. And the thing is, and I don't know,
Blue Fairy
maybe
had a nice American accent, just straight up,
straight up
no
American
accent at
accent.
all. At
Yeah.
all, American.
But I am a little disappointed in that because as much as I love this country and I'm like America all the way, there's just something about like classic films like this where I'm like, man, a nice insert of a British accent would be great right here. Like when in doubt, just go British. Like if you can't do an Italian
Yeah,
accent,
or
if
go
you
Russian.
can't do Swedish or Russian or French, just straight up like back in the old days with Cleopatra and Ben-Hur, a lot of these characters, you just do it a British accent.
Yeah,
um, I don't know. There's just some kind of classical elegance that brings it around. I guess I don't know. That's just my opinion. But no. But I mean, so acting. So what do you think about like the voice acting that the little kid? I think his name is Benjamin Evans did.
I think he did a good job. I liked how he did. He sounded
Benjamin
like
Ainsworth.
he pretty much sounded like Pinocchio. I appreciated that.
Yeah, little boy. Yeah.
Yeah, little boy. Now I think they could have made an exception by like maybe making the wooden puppet a little bit taller or something because he's supposed to be the age kids that walk by. So why not
He
make
was
it?
kind of small.
Yeah, he was a little small.
Yeah.
Even in the cartoon, I think he was a little bit bigger.
I think so.
Or Geppetto was a lot shorter. One of the two.
Right. Right. Well, I don't know. Where our Italians are not really known for being like really tall, are they? I don't know.
No, they're not.
No.
We are short people, and there wasn't much. There wasn't much Italian representation in this movie, even though it was supposed to be in Italy.
Mhm. Yeah,
Where
and
are
I mean,
my people? That's what I have to say.
right, and it's one of these weird things with Disney, right? Is that representation, diversity, all this stuff really is apparently important to them,
Yeah,
right?
important.
Until it's necessary or until it would be appreciated, right? So, I mean, like, it just this movie with all the changes that they made to this movie, yeah, why not have a little bit more Italian influence in it?
Yeah.
Um, I can't say that I'm a connoisseur of, this time frame, you know, with with everything, but I just know that Tom Hanks did not have an Italian.
No, he
And
didn't.
let's just be real, as amazing as Tom Hanks is as an actor, I mean, there is a reason that they keep bringing him back for films over the last several decades because he is very skilled, he's very talented, and maybe accents just
Well, he's
aren't his
Tom
strong,
Hanks.
but it's just like, why was it weird,
All right,
man?
do we
Like,
have to go there? All right, Tom Hanks. I do not like the guy at all. He's a horrible person. Is he a good actor? Sure, he's a good
right.
actor. But a person, he is a horrible person. And
This
I
is what
don't
I've
know if
heard.
this is one reason why I didn't really want to watch this movie because I don't want to watch him anymore. Um,
Right.
he's just a bad person. He's a bad person. I've mentioned that before. For those of you who don't know, just think Jeffrey Epstein and his
For those of
island.
you who don't know, Dan does not like Tom Hanks.
That's right. Because of Jeffrey Epstein and his island, That's
Yeah,
why. Um,
it's
I know really nothing much has come of that whole investigation there, but at the same time, we all know. We all know. Just because the left and the weirdos don't want to, bring it out. It's not like we're dumb.
but he's still a great actor. But yeah. Well, I mean, I think we can all agree that we don't necessarily look to Hollywood for moral compass, right?
No, we
Like,
shouldn't be. It would be nice if we could, like back in the old days, but you know, like the old days, back in like the 40s and the 50s. I mean,
right.
even some of that's a little not moral compassy, but at least there was some. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh no. Well, let's just watch some more of this. Well, we get Tabitha tried to come back here. What am I doing?
Pinocchio should have been home by now.
I don't like that.
All right, so it was nice that they sang the original song.
Yeah.
It was a nice. I'm gonna skip ahead. I mean, this is the trailer, everybody. Just there you go. I'm skipping to the title. This is the trailer. Go watch the
Pinocchio,
trailer.
you didn't know.
Yeah. Hanks heard you talking about him.
And he took down Tabitha, justice for Tabitha.
Tabitha
No,
down.
guys, I realized that I didn't have my microphone properly hooked up, and I was like, okay, I hated to abandon Dan, but I'm like, I can't continue the show like this. Embarrassed. Oh, embarrassed. So
How
here I am.
embarrassing.
But Dan and I were talking backstage a little bit. It's really difficult for us when we get backstage not to talk about the show beforehand a little bit and give some of our thoughts. And
Yeah,
so we were
exactly.
talking about the Blue Fairy. And again, we were, if you mentioned how diverse, Disney's pushing this huge diverseness, right? And making us pick sides and weird things like that.
Yeah,
we both
and
were
everybody
saying
hated the Blue Fairy and said, "Why did they switch her around and stuff like that?"
right, this race swapping stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't have a problem with the Blue
actually,
Fairy.
I didn't have a problem either. I thought she did a great job as the Blue Fairy. Now, I think maybe she should have been a little bit more transparent in her skin tone or something, a little bit more blue.
Yeah, rather than just this, because honestly, for me, and
the thing that kind of took me out of it a little bit were her wings. She had like 4 different wings on the top, and then like 3 different wings on the bottom. It was weird.
Well, for me, what took it out for me was the glowy rhinestone things that they attached to her head. Okay.
And her ears.
Like her ears. Okay. And so while that stuff is cool in its place, I have a problem with modernizing these classics. Okay. She looks great. I just don't think it was appropriate for this film. Now, she didn't necessarily need to have long flowing locks, because this particular actress does tend to keep her hair very short. Yeah. And I get that.
And I don't know. She's very pretty too.
Oh, yeah.
She did a great job in this, and being the Blue Fairy. She's very pretty in it. Very,
Did you know she's the same actress from Harriet that we reviewed?
Oh, is she?
Same actress. She's an amazing singer. But I just didn't like that. For me personally, that just kind of took away the elegance. It's a little too modern for me.
The little thing on her head or whatever.
They put like little rhinestones on her head and then on her ears, and that was just kind of, like I said, a little strange. It's a little too modern. Right. And
I think if they didn't do that, it probably would have been fine.
Yeah, but overall, like I think people have this crazy idea about what what race swapping and everything is. If you constantly tell people it's wrong, if you constantly tell people it's right and don't let them make up their own minds. This is, again, like when growing up, you saw people, just all kinds of people doing whatever roles, and you didn't think about anything because it was just there's people. They're just
people. I mean, if they do a great job, good, like Tom Hanks. Did he do a great job as Geppetto? I don't think so.
But it's the whole thing.
She did a great job with being the Blue Fairy. I don't know why she did, or
she just had a whimsy about her.
Yeah, I thought for some reason it was going to be horrible. Maybe that's why. Maybe I had so low expectations that I was like, "Wow, it's not really that bad."
I think a lot of that has to do with what we see in the news every day. That it unintentionally, it's subliminally just infiltrating or subtly infiltrating our mindset that we groan internally when we see an obvious gender or race swap. And then we tend to forget, at least sometimes for me, I would just go ahead and admit it. And sometimes I'm like, it's let me just watch this and make up my own mind.
Yeah.
And you watch it and you're like, I had no problems. I think I've said this multiple times on this channel. It has a big part to do with agenda. There was no agenda with putting the what's her name? Cynthia Irivo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Cynthia. We'll act like we're on a first name basis.
Yeah.
You know, putting Cynthia. There was no slap in your face like, oh, we're changing the blue fairy so we can include diversity. There was none of that.
Right.
She was just the character, and she did it really well. So I
Right.
think that's a big part of it. I do think the little boy did a good job as Pinocchio, like you
As
said, because
Pinocchio's voice.
that last scene where they did switch a couple of things, but like where he's sad because Geppetto is, seemingly dead. Again, they switched some of the
they switched.
story here.
So my issue with this movie is the plot.
All right, let's just go ahead and talk about the plot.
Yeah, let's talk about that good old plot.
The good old-fashioned plot.
That's right. The story, the plot, some of it is like the cartoon, but a lot of it is not, because a lot of it is where, okay, Pinocchio's like in the cartoon, Pinocchio follows the donkey boys, right? And he does become a jackass. He doesn't know what he's doing, but he wants to be just like those kids.
Peer pressure.
In this movie, he's like, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. It just doesn't feel right. I'm already, like he's already a good boy. He doesn't want to be.
No battle, no conflict within.
Yeah, exactly. And then, the cricket's hardly ever there, stuck in a jar or something for the most of the movie. So it's like that is one of the things that kind of made me not like it as much, is because of the whole how they switched some of that stuff up.
They kind of changed the moral of the story.
Yeah.
The moral of the story is really not about basically being rewarded for good deeds. I guess that's kind of the essence of Pinocchio, the magic, that goes along with it, because of the fact that Geppetto wants to have a real boy. He can't, so he creates the boy, and Pinocchio will only become a real boy if he stays on the right path.
Yeah.
Versus this movie is a little bit more about, it seems, again, it's really difficult these days with the agenda pushing and things that are in front of us, but just kind of watching it, it's like they changed things about, and this movie was more about accepting people for who they are.
Yeah, I think
because
so.
At the end, spoiler guys, I mean, if you've not seen this movie, that's fine, whatever. But so if you are familiar with Pinocchio, in the end, when they come out of and survive the whale, right, Monstro, they end up on
what I didn't like is that he was a sea monster in this movie. He wasn't a whale, he was a sea monster.
And when they get to land, right, you remember it was all this tumultuous waves and whatever, and in the cartoon, Geppetto finds Pinocchio face down in the water, thinks that Pinocchio's dead, okay? And then he's sobbing his heart out because he thinks Pinocchio's dead. But in the meantime, Pinocchio's going through his transition into becoming a real boy because he proved that he was a good boy at heart, or however you want to word that, right? And they go off into the sunset happily ever after, if you will. There's lots of singing and happiness. In this film, it's the reverse. Pinocchio saves Geppetto by crying over him and singing a song. And somehow that gives CPR to Geppetto, which I know they didn't want to do. They don't want to do CPR in a movie like this. It's for kids. It's supposed to be fun.
Kids, yeah.
But he sings a song, and this magic is what saves Geppetto. And then Geppetto is so happy they're reunited. And while they're on the beach, he looks at Pinocchio and he was like, I've wanted a boy for myself this, all this whole time, my son. But I look at you and you're all I ever need. And you're just as real as if you were a real boy. And then
and that's one thing I hated, was that he didn't say, I wish he was a real boy in the beginning. He just kind of, what I wished for? A little kitty cat that's very CGI and animated and really looks bad in my hands when I'm trying to pet you.
We'll get to that. Don't worry.
It's like he doesn't say a real boy. He just says, I wish he was real, or something like that. It was just
and so here's the weird controversial topic. The first time that I watched this film, I was pretty upset because of the ending, because at first glance, it doesn't appear that Pinocchio changes into a real boy, right? They walk off while Jiminy Cricket is narrating.
Right.
And they walk off, and it looks like he stays a puppet.
Right.
But I was doing some
Just
research.
very, very little when he's, I mean, it's zooming out. That's why you don't see it, I don't think. It's very little. It does change.
He
so.
still stays super skinny and kind of short. He is not appropriately
he
sized.
doesn't.
What they do is they do zoom in on like his, well, they zoom in from the larger picture, and then once they're zoomed in, they start panning outwards, as Dan had said, and there is a subtle change that the round or the squared edges of his arms and legs and the joints, those
they turn
pieces smooth out into just one color. But it's so easy to miss that actually I'm not the only person that did not see him change, and it looked like they just kept him as a little boy, and that this movie was about acceptance for who you are. There was no big to-do about the fact that he turned into a little boy, which is the whole point of the movie.
The whole point of it, was he was supposed to be a real boy. That's right. I like Soul Assassin. He said, the first one, he said, heard they didn't do the beer or cigars in the movie like in the animated film. No, they didn't. The beer was root beer, everybody. Root beer. But it looked just like beer. I don't know. It was strange.
See, here's the weird
like
conundrum.
CGI beer.
R2 says, "Whoa, when did Dan join Leonard Skinner tribute?" ZZ Top, just need that beard. Well, here's the thing too. It's like, I get, so Pinocchio, okay, you go back and you watch the original film, and like many of them, there are a lot of like heavy themes that are kind of woven in there, and it's like, okay, maybe parents don't want to have their kids watching a movie where little boys are out smoking cigars and drinking beer. So I get that they wouldn't want to necessarily include that, but at the same time, it's trying to paint a picture that this, if you will, this is what bad people do. I understand that, there are good people out there that have these hobbies.
One little section, it came to my head. The one little section when the blue fairy's there and she says something, and little Jiminy Cricket, something happened, right? She did something, and he was like, "Whoa!" And his umbrella popped open, fell to the ground, and then he covered himself in the southern parts.
I did not catch that.
You didn't see that?
I did not catch
it was
that.
Very subtle. It was very quick, but I was like, wait a minute, why would they throw that in this kid's movie, But,
right, and like a Soul Assassin says, most of these fairy tales are much darker than what Disney pictured them in the original, back in the day. So I appreciate that. So I'm just saying, like, I get what
1883. This was written by a
guy. But here's the thing: Disney needs to make up its mind, which they already have, but sort of. They need to make up their mind what they consider to be a moral compass, okay? Because if they're they're okay with, like, drag and weird things like this, but they're bothered by the fact that bad kids are drinking, skipping out on school, and smoking, then they need to get it together, okay? It's all or nothing. Like, I'm just saying. But okay, so also the modernization of some stuff. Some things are funny. I know Disney back in the day used to be known for like slipping things in there as far as references to other Disney movies, but like it was kind of funny. But when the fox and the cat are trying to get Pinocchio to not go to school, he was like, "Pinocchio, that's too long of a name. We need to give you a different name." And he goes through different names and he comes up with Chris Pine. Now that was kind of funny. But at the same time, I'm like, it's just like, it didn't feel right.
No, it didn't fit. I don't think it fit.
I don't think that fit at all.
No, not at all. I did enjoy the cuckoo clocks, though. When they all cuckooed, you had a Toy Story cuckoo clock. You had a Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I didn't think Disney made that movie. I don't think they did.
It's not a Disney movie.
Someone else made it. I think it was Warner Brothers, right?
Probably.
I don't know how they got the rights to show that, but that was cool. That was funny.
That's Hollywood's morals for you. Smoking and drinking, unacceptable. Sexual perversion and dysfunction, yes, because they do. They love to picture family with dysfunction and idiot fathers, incompetent mothers. Yeah, they love that. Disney's Aladdin versus the original story is not. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it is. So I do appreciate Disney cleaning up the original story. like the Little Mermaid and everything. But yeah, Pinocchio, the plot. Oh, I haven't given any points. Like we talked about acting. Let's go back a little bit. We're acting,
Yeah,
Dan.
yeah.
Points for acting. What do you think?
I'm gonna have to give it a half because half of them did great, half of them did horrible.
Okay.
Um,
I'm gonna give acting a point. I think everybody did a good job, lighthearted, whimsical. But for the plot, I give it no points
yeah, no point
because
for the plot because they changed it. They changed it from learning and learning from something to become more moral and stuff like that to just being there.
be yourself
Be
kind of
yourself.
thing.
Yeah,
In a weird way.
Yeah, it was
You
weird.
see, it's like that was the weird message behind it too. So Geppetto wants to. This story really is more about Geppetto changing his
outlook of
outlook
life, maybe.
versus Pinocchio being a good boy. Geppetto wants to have a real boy. He wants to have a son. In the end, he's just happy and proud of Pinocchio no matter what, but ends up with a son
Yeah.
anyway.
Did you see Tom Hanks in the window when the wishing star was there? At first, he was like this, it looked like he was about to pray, and then he was like, "No, no, 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 no." Like that's telling to me that okay, we don't pray, everybody. We just wish on a star. We don't pray to God. Forget praying. Just just hope and.
I may not have centered in on that one, but I mean, he did. Yeah, I mean, in the original, in the cartoon, he is praying, but it's like he's praying to the stars. A lot of
Right,
people
yeah.
do that, so they just kind
So
of they
true.
know there's some grand work out in the
Something out
universe,
there
but they don't know
that's
what it
not-
is. So I could give that a little leeway. But right, it's another classic Disney trope, is what Celebrity Jeremy says, that the kid was right and the adult was wrong. See, so
Yeah,
okay,
but
well,
that's not
do you want to do the CGI? I know you love, or not the CGI, the cinematography.
cinematography because of the CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we can do that, and then we'll go into the commercial break.
Okay.
All right, so what did I didn't give plot a point, did I? No, I didn't. Okay. Cinematography, which includes CGI. So cinematography, I liked some of it. Don't get me wrong, I did like some of it, like in the beginning and stuff like that. The colors were nice, very vibrant, very kind of beautiful. But at the same time, the CGI did not look like it was in the picture at all. It was all janky.
It was a little confusing.
And the cat, and it doesn't look. Why didn't they just use a real cat? I don't understand. The cat doesn't talk or anything. Just use a real cat. And then same with. I like how they did the fish. The fish was fine. The fish was great. But the cat was bad. And then when Tom Hanks has got the hands for the wooden puppet, he's going like this, and then you see the wooden puppet, and he's just not moving as much as Tom Hanks is moving his hands.
I noticed that with like the dancing girl.
Yeah.
Like the dancing girl is just like doing backflips and cartwheels and whatever, and the things just kind of. It's like that's not how puppets work. Look, I've done puppetry. It's not
why
how
didn't
it
they
works.
just use? I don't understand. Like in the beginning, why they didn't use a real puppet that looked like Pinocchio, and and then CGI it, a little bit, or take some of the light. I don't know.
Well, see, and that would have made more sense because it really would have made Pinocchio stand out more if they would have used real puppet, like in The Sound of Music or something. If they would have used real puppets, it would have made Pinocchio stand out more because they basically just looked like him with strings.
Yeah, exactly.
So I didn't really like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all either. It was bad. It was badly done. Some of the CGI worked, and then some of it didn't. I don't understand why they didn't pay attention to their craft or their. Maybe they didn't really care about this movie because of all the backlash that was happening. So they were like, well, I mean, it's for kids. They won't notice the difference between.
Which is a shame, man. Like Disney, what are you doing? You're
Yeah,
known for producing
exactly.
literally timeless classics that will be here until Jesus comes back. And what is happening? But I mean, I wonder if this movie was somehow rushed. Like, number one, why did Disney feel they needed to make this movie? And
Yeah,
then you notice that there really was no publicity for it until it came out. Like, it was
right.
just a couple, like
Yeah.
maybe what, a week or
When,
excuse me, like a
when
month before it came out, and then you knew it was being made.
right. Well, when it first, when people first started talking about it, it was mostly about the Blue Fairy. Oh, there's
Oh, I
pictures of
didn't
the
miss
Blue
that
Fairy.
part.
You
Or I didn't
missed
get
that
that
on
part.
Twitter.
Yeah, I missed
Um,
that.
everybody talked about, oh, the Blue Fairy, oh, they're race swapping, blah blah blah. This is
Mhm.
horrible. It looks so chinky and cheesy and stuff. I mean, that's the only thing in this movie that I liked for some reason.
I know, right?
I mean, she said all the right words. She sang a beautiful song. It's like she did good, and she was like on track with almost the cartoon style.
Yeah,
But
she
what?
had some elegance to her,
Yeah,
but she
yeah,
had some she brought a little bit more whimsy, I think, to the fairy than the original one. The original one's a little bit more like little stiffer, a little bit more
yeah.
I don't want to say what's the word I'm looking for, but reserved, very professional. I'm the
Right,
blue
right.
fairy and I'm here to tell you what to do. Whereas this one,
Yeah,
she's a little bit more playful, and I like that. She's a
yeah,
fairy.
yeah. She was good. She was good. I like. Uh, what's up, GilkMan?
GilkMan!
He goes, Wish Upon a Star was beautifully sung. The acting by the honest John and
By Honest John and Gideon was funny, and Luke Evans was my
okay,
favorite thing about the film. Yeah, because Luke Evans did the Coachman. Um,
okay,
but I mean, like Soul Assassin said, and I mentioned this briefly, we're so used to the woke nonsense that we call anything that looks woke or might not be woke. Exactly. And I
yeah,
think that's where a lot of commentary, different podcasts and stuff like that, where we're losing a little bit of our edge. We're slowly becoming the people that we've been criticizing and fighting against. Anything that we see,
yeah.
again, it's almost like it's like brainwashing
I
unintentionally.
mean,
It's subliminal.
so because of how this happened, who knows? Maybe Little Mermaid will be okay. Just because
Right.
it's a black woman, it doesn't mean anything. As long as she plays the part well
I
and
saw a thread on Twitter
stays
where
on
it
the.
said it's not so much about gender swapping. That one's different. It's not so much about race swapping that we really
Mhm.
have an issue with. The issue is that the characters don't look like, or the actors don't look like the characters. So they were
Right.
saying with Halle Bailey that if she would have had the hair, if she would
Right.
have had a
Instead
better
of
outfit,
dreadlocks. Yeah.
if they would have lighted it in a more majestic way, we
Right.
probably wouldn't have as big of an issue
Right.
as a
That's
lot of us are having these days. But but Dan, so cinematography.
cinematography. Yeah. I think I'm gonna give this a half a point only because of how
Oh,
janky the CGI was, and um, you know, yeah. I mean, most of this movie comes down to how the plot was and stuff, and you don't see the Blue Fairy more than once in this movie, like you
right?
do in the original 1940 classic.
Like you really didn't even need her at the end or in the beginning
Yeah, I mean,
because
especially when his nose gets long, it's like, oh, I'm telling a lie. Whoops, and she's like supposed to tell him, hey, your nose is long because you're lying. No, I'm not lying. Whoop, you know. I mean, and then he figures it out. Oh, it's because I'm lying that my nose is growing. So let me lie one more time so I can get that key. So lying helps me to achieve what I want, and
achieve your
then
goals.
that's right. And then apologizing afterwards helps me to.
Because as the saying goes, it's easier to apologize or it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Right, exactly.
But
So
I give cinematography.
cinnamon.
I give that a half a point as well because, like we said at the beginning, you're watching the trailer and a lot of the colors are really beautiful. The filters that they put over everything are really nice, pretty crisp,
Yeah.
and they did a good job with I think some of the angles. It cannot be easy to have the actors looking at fake things or non-existent
Right,
things,
right,
and so it's pretty cool. But at the same
right.
time, I'm a little bit confused by the choice of stylization
Right.
because
And did you see when Geppetto wakes up, he flips a switch and all his lights turn on. Like, oh, it's like electricity, but not. And then like
Yeah,
this little
there was some
funky
weird
thing lights
element.
it or something. It's so stupid.
Especially like he runs a clock shop, right? And that
Yeah,
guy's
and
like,
he
I
doesn't
want
want
to
to sell a clock.
I want to buy that clock. I've got to have it. No, sorry. I don't sell the clocks. Then why do you have a clock shop? Literally is a line in the movie. Why do you have a clock shop? I don't
Yeah,
understand. Like,
yeah,
so how does he afford to keep those lights on? Anyway, I'm a little bit confused by the stylization because this was maybe that's intentional, but it's almost like they were, how Mary Poppins, had the cartoons mixed with live action humans. And it was
right,
like they were trying to do CGI cartoons in the real world. But sometimes they looked more realistic, like it was better, well done. And so
right,
that
right.
would kind of jumped around. And I was listening to, I don't know if anybody in the chat maybe caught um Drunk 3PO's podcast last night. He had a VFX artist in his thing, and they were talking about She-Hulk and cinematography and the CGI and stuff like that. And they're like, why is it that sometimes it looks good when sometimes it's not? And he's like, it's not the artist's fault. It's the creators and the producers and the whatever's the people with the money. They're like, hurry this up. We want it now. We want it yesterday. And it takes a
Right.
long time to make something CGI look really fantastic. And so I'm wondering if that, again, like going back, if that's the case, like
Yeah, it could
this
be.
movie had no huge advertisement.
Right. And you could tell, especially with the cat, that sometimes it looked
Yeah.
like it was floating or something,
Like
like
they
it was
seem
walking
to
on the thing.
prioritize the fox over the cat, in my opinion, and
Yeah,
it was a little bit bizarre to me, and I was confused. Sometimes I liked it, sometimes I didn't, but that's just
right,
because it kept
exactly.
switching back and forth, and
Yeah,
I
it
just wonder
switched
if
back
they
and forth
rushed
from
this.
yeah, it was switching back and forth from like cartoony to real to cartoony to are we a cartoon or are we live action? What's going on?
Exactly. So that was the part that I didn't like and why I give this a half a point because the
Yeah,
well done parts are well done and the not so like, confusing parts are confusing and I just like and again it goes back to why did Disney feel we needed this movie? Nobody asked for this movie. Like
right.
and
Yeah,
again there like if nobody's asking for this movie and then you just produce it without any advertisement. Was Disney just trying to pump for content? It's not like they're YouTube. People are watching Disney Plus
yeah,
regularly.
yeah. They do, they do.
so,
I know my kids turn it on every now and then. So
so-
it's not like they're not making their money back. So,
and GilkMan, we agree. We had discussed that. Tom Hanks not being the greatest person for moral compass, but he
human
is
being,
definitely a phenomenal. And Soul Assassin, you say cash grab, but I don't see how. People are already paying for Disney Plus. It wasn't like they were going to the theaters to spend extra money to
yeah,
see
because
this.
this came straight out to Disney Plus. It
And
didn't
we're
even
not
go
buying it on DVD. So
Yeah, right.
where's the cash grab?
Right,
I don't
exactly.
understand that, to be honest. There might be something I'm missing when it comes to streaming, but I don't understand. So cinematography is a half a point because
Yeah,
sometimes it was
me
good,
too.
sometimes it was not.
Yeah. So next would be the score, the music of the movie. Woo, woo, woo. Oh, before we do that though, let's do our commercial
Let's tell
break.
people about our stuff.
I forgot about that. So all you guys, we did hit 700 subscribers a couple of streams ago, and we want to do a surprise giveaway, and the giveaway is going to be a surprise, and right now is going to be also, So here's the question for the giveaway: if you get this right, then
You're
we'll put
entered to win.
you're entered to win. That's right. It is who created or who made
Founded.
the show the 700 Club. And go. You can do it now. You can answer later. You can answer now. You can answer at the end. Doesn't matter while we're talking. But who created the 700 Club? And there you have it.
And do we want to announce winners tonight or do you want to announce winners on Sunday when we do our next live stream? 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Well, we can do it tonight. That's fine.
Okay. All right, guys. If you
And
want
then,
to get some cool stuff.
You want to get something cool. Celebrity Jeremy just put something in.
Oh, okay.
Pat, Robertson.
Soul Assassin
Yes.
says that question was on Jeopardy last night. Was it for 200, Alex?
Was it really on Jeopardy? That'd be funny if it was.
But
So Pat Robertson is correct.
Dan.
What? It's okay. So the next one would be, what is his real name?
Oh, okay.
So there you go. But you'll still be added into the.
Well, now everybody can just enter because they already know his name.
That's true. Go ahead, everybody, enter it. Go.
But then I think that most people in Hollywood, both left and right, are horrible people with the exception of some. This is true. Exactly, GilkMan. You know, Hollywood is no different than the rest of the world, except that they get the limelight shined on them.
Yeah.
It's the same thing where you work. It's the same thing where I go shop. There are despicable people there, and there's some really good people there. It's just who is getting the light shined on them.
That's right. All right. So, anyways, everybody, we love you. Just if you love what we do here, please subscribe to the channel and ding the bell button. Want to ding that bell?
Want to ring the bell? All right. Ding, ding.
Exactly. That's how it's done.
And vanquish the like button. Bang, bang, bang. That's so funny. And share. Obviously, sharing is caring. If you guys share this
friends.
out there, you know, the algorithms are really bad on YouTube. But if you share, if you like, if you comment, things like that, it helps us out. And if you want to help support us financially, you can buy some t-shirts and what have you
All the merch.
store.
What
That's
is
right.
this place? What is it that you do here? Merchandising. Merchandising, merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's
It
so
is
beautiful.
And that is www.insidetheboothtv.com/shop, and go ahead and buy something cool. Or if you can't do that, or if you don't have the money for that, but you say to yourself, I can give you guys $1 a month. How about that? That we can do also. Go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/ I think it's Inside the Booth. And go ahead and become a member for $1 a month. So there you have it, everybody. Beautiful commercial. I hope you enjoyed that commercial. And we are back to talk about the score, the music, the beautifulness of
Pinocchio! Quickly to answer Soul Assassin's question, have I ever drawn Link? I have, just not recently. So, the music, Dan, what did you think?
Yeah, draw Link. That'd be fun. The music I thought was half good and half bad. So I'll give it a half a point. It was, you know, there's some part. I think it's just like the CGI. Some parts of it's really good. Some parts of it's really not that good. Not memorable at all. It didn't even feel like, you know, like, was there music in this part? I don't remember, because this movie in a whole was just like a confusing pile of steamy Hollywood. Yes.
A steaming pile of Hollywood.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have to go with that as well. It's just that there were good parts of the music in here, and then just some not so good. Like, not, I wouldn't say not so good, but just nothing compelling, nothing captivating, nothing riveting, you know? And I think that's just because of the fact that this is a remake of a movie we're already familiar with. And if they would have added some kind of weird dance number in the middle that we were unfamiliar with, maybe we would have been okay with it. I do understand here. I want to give a little bit of leeway for these remakes. Okay, they're not all terrible, and I know we're saying we're not asking for them, but sometimes I can see a creative director being like, hey, wouldn't it be cool with the technology that we have right now to bring something reimagined? I get it. I do. As an artist, I understand. And so I do know that it's a gamble. So maybe if they would have had, there's not going to be, we're not at the point anymore where there's going to be a happy medium. I think it would have
No.
been kind of cool if they would have introduced some appropriate dance numbers or musical themes in here that would have been brand new, because it's like, it's one of these things with these
They did one. They did the Spanish one there. That Spanish. I don't know what to call it.
It's just one of those things where it's like, again, nobody's asking for this, and so it's like, and when they're doing this, I don't want to say the bad word, but half-heartedly,
half-assed.
There we go. It's like they want to have it new and pretty and shiny, but we're on the fence about changing things, even though we're changing things, so we'll just bastardize the old original stuff. And so that's where, again, with the music, I'm a little bit on the fence about this. So I give the music about a half a point as well. It's almost like go all in or don't.
Half a donkey.
I mean, it's in the Bible, but it wasn't going to use it that way, so.
Just call it a donkey. Medicare music is really surprising for a collaboration. I mean,
well, and again, it's like it wasn't bad. It's just it was good. The points where the music was there, it was beautiful. It fit, but again, it's just not. I think if you're going, maybe I just didn't pay attention enough, because again, maybe it just wasn't riveting enough. I just.
Yes, I do. I had a pet cricket in my
Remember Dan's cricket.
That's right. He was my conscience, and then I grew my conscience, and I was already a good boy, so I really didn't need Jiminy Cricket.
So he killed him.
so he was in a jar most of the time. You guys heard him peeping all the time. I would tell him to be quiet, No, I'm joking.
And so Dan's like, I can't do this anymore. I've got to squish him.
I gotta do something to him.
So
actually, I think my what do you call him? My wife's son decided to take him outside. So yeah.
Oh, you seemed really confused about who.
It's like a stepson, right?
Right. Yeah. That's okay. That's why I was confused.
I was like step. Half, I don't remember.
Your half son.
I'll just say.
Is that even possible to have a half son?
I'm not. But in this world,
this
it
is
probably
half
is.
Of my kids. Your half son. Oh, anyway, so that being said, acting, plot, cinematography,
Yes.
Music, the finale.
Yes, I guess you could say he's just my son. You're
Your
right.
son.
I should have just said that.
Instead of
bad.
making it really confusing.
Yeah, I was.
So,
Sorry.
What's next? The allegory, is it?
It is.
Is it
is.
time
It's
for that good
beautiful.
old-fashioned allegory?
All
I am
right.
curious to see.
I'm curious for yours.
Okay.
I really didn't.
It's like that show, Uncle Grandpa. I'm my own grandpa. Oh my gosh. Okay, mine.
You can go first. That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say all right. School education is better than TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. And what I mean by
And being in a puppet show.
there's that too.
You
What I
forgot
mean by that is that I will say that this movie does a good job of, pointing out that Pinocchio skips out on education. He skips out on school, doing what he's supposed to be doing. And the fox and the cat, they're trying to get him down this road to fame and success. Right. And they don't tell
being
him.
live action, wouldn't you think the fox would have been almost more human like and then just kind of foxy with his
Well, but again, this was like the cartoon. In the cartoon, you had
that's
humans
what
walking
confused me. They say it's supposed to be like a live action and then it looks like a cartoon, but then it's a live action and it's like get your story.
I was okay with that because again, it's like the cartoon, but yeah, live action it sometimes can throw you off. But I'm just saying that basically shortcuts don't necessarily lead to fame and success. Hard work does. There are no shortcuts in success. And the people that tend to, go viral overnight, that if they want to keep that, the thing is, you could have quick success, right? You could have quick success instantaneously. One day, all of a sudden, your thing explodes. We had ADC Art Attack on the other night. Professional, not painter, but a professional artist on his channel here on YouTube, and he was saying, "Don't give up because that one video could go viral, and that puts you on the map." This is true. And then if you would ask him, he'll tell you that he's been working his butt off since then to continue this trajectory of an uphill scale. And so for me, that little moment there in the street when he was like, "Oh no, we need you to be, you could be, have your name and lights and you could put you on the map and everything like that." Good night, little Spidey. It's just that there are no shortcuts to success, and that education is a lot more important than entertainment, because you can't have that taken away from you ever. Once you learn something, it's there. And we don't value it. We don't prize it enough. And notice I'm not saying school. I'm saying education. You can be self-taught. It can never be taken away from you. And we don't value that as much as we should anymore. And so that's what I got out of it for an allegory. It's like, stay in school. Don't do drugs. You know what Mr. T always said.
Cool.
I pity the fool.
So what? You didn't have anything that, parallel to the Bible?
Well, the Bible does talk about that don't aim for success because money takes flight. Like it grows wings, know, and
money is the root to all evil.
No, it is not. It's the love of money. Don't be that person, Dan.
It's the root, though.
No, but it's the love of money is the root of all evil. It's not money. That's the root of all evil. Right. And that's what people always attack us about, because they're like, "Oh, churches are always asking for money, even though money's the root of all evil." It's like,
money.
That's not how that works. It's not how. The Bible and a Disney movie? Yeah. Well, the thing is, guys, all fables and stories are grounded. All morals are grounded in the Bible, whether you wish to acknowledge that or not.
That's it.
It's the foundation. So I give allegory
things that, Disney can throw other stuff in there that's not morally correct, but doesn't mean that the story doesn't have a moral in there somewhere.
I mean, good triumphing over evil is biblical. Don't be greedy. Don't skip school when your parents tell you you need to go do something.
Right. Yeah, honor thy mother and thy father.
Kids, don't drink beer and cigarettes. It doesn't exactly say that specifically, but it's in there somewhere.
But well, the Bible does say don't drink to get drunk, stay sober minded. But it's I didn't really find much in this one. Now in the original Pinocchio, yes, of course, there's a lot of allegory in the original Pinocchio. This one not as much, because it's like the kid was already always a good kid or something. Like he didn't learn anything. But but I guess that's kind of Disney. Thanks, Disney, for ruining our childhood. No.
I will say the original Pinocchio did freak me out. It wasn't my favorite Disney film. That scene, and now as an adult, when I go back and watch it, and I watched that one scene where the boys start turning into donkeys, I'm actually gutted. Like I get very emotional with that one scene. I forget what his name is, but he, when all of a sudden he starts realizing he's turning into a donkey, and the way that they did that, so freaky, because, and then my goodness, I'll start crying, honestly, if I think about it too much. I'll breeze through this, but when he starts calling out for his mom in terror, the way that guy did the voice work strikes a chord, and I can't talk about it because I will literally cry. That just breaks my heart, because you never hear about those boys going home.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They got lost. They got trapped in their own selfishness, in their own pride, in their own everything that they're doing. So I guess there is an allegory in that scene for sure. It's better in the original because they're meaning to be jerks. That's why they turned into donkeys. Donkeys are called asses. They turned into asses. Why? Because that's what they were being in the pleasure island. That's what they were being. They do whatever they want, however they wanted to.
Oh,
and
man, it's so ironic that Tom Hanks is in this movie.
Yeah, and not realizing that
Geppetto was behind it the whole time. I'm so sorry.
That's true. I'm not, but these kids are not realizing they're not realizing the consequences to their actions.
Yep.
And the consequences was being bound to these demon looking entities, and turning into donkeys. So it's.
Well, like he said, the wages of sin.
Yeah, the wages of sin is death. That's right.
It doesn't. Again, don't do drugs, kids.
That's it. Well, yeah. I mean.
So if you don't have an allegory, I guess you don't give an allegory point.
Right, but I mean that's my allegory. It's more toward the original cartoon.
But we're not talking about the original.
I know we're not, but it has a little bit in this one, right? Just a little bit.
I don't know. It's up to you. It's your allegory.
You're right. It had the demons in there. Okay, I'll give it a half a point.
What are you talking about?
I'll give it a half a point.
Okay. Well,
because it was kind of there, but they kind of took it out of there at the same time. All right, so there you go.
So
drugs are bad. Okay.
Okay.
That's from South Park.
Rogue asks, we talked about this. Did they have a city accents in the original, like Brooklyn or Bronx? It's been a while. I think they always sounded like wise guys. Yeah, they did kind of weird things with some of the accents here. Like Geppetto's accent was weird, and Pinocchio really was fine. He sounded great like the original. And then Stromboli apparently was a Russian gypsy something that Dan
it was a mixture of accents. Yeah.
So, well, Dan, I am going to tally up the points. You do what you gotta do.
All right, everybody. All right. One last call for. I know some people already answered it, but one last call for the giveaway to enter to win. The question was, who is the creator of the 700 Club? And then just type it in the comments right now. I'll give you a couple seconds here. Well, maybe a little bit more than a couple seconds. Well, she's tallying. A
couple of seconds that equal a couple of minutes, Yeah,
that's right. That's right. So go ahead. Type it in. Who created the 700 Club? Then all your names will pop up and blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
Rogue, I don't know. He sounded almost Russian, but at the same time, he was supposed to be Italian with a weird other.
He's not really supposed to be. Accent. Oh, he is, isn't he? Like Stromboli. Yeah. I mean, given the name Stromboli.
Right. I don't know. It was weird.
Dan, on behalf of his people, was offended by this movie.
Yes. On behalf of all Italians, I'm offended. They did not represent us.
So he's not actually Russian, but
That's it.
Let's see. All right. So out of 10 possible points, this was a rough one. How many points do you think Inside the Booth collectively gives this movie, Dan? We had a lot of halvesies here, so I'm curious to see.
I got 5 points.
Well, ding, because you nailed it. It is 5 out of 10 possible points that Inside the Booth gives the new live-action Pinocchio movie. There are a few good things in this. I won't say a lot. There are a few good things in here. I mean, Pinocchio himself does look really fantastic. I mean, they really brought
They
the
did.
cartoon
I
version
think
of
he should have been a little
Pinocchio.
bigger, but they did a good job.
Right. But as far as the way he looks and everything, it is beautiful. But there's just a lot missing here. And exactly, Rogue, this didn't need to exist.
No, you're right.
Nobody
It
asked
did
for
not need
this.
to exist.
And I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe I'm sure there's a handful in the world, but who, with a show of hands, has ever said Pinocchio's my favorite Disney film? I don't know anybody that
Not a
says
lot.
that.
I mean, it is a nice film. I liked it.
Well, no,
but-
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying,
No,
like,
I know.
they're trying to remake this movie for what group of people? Because I don't know a single
Yeah.
person that says this is my favorite movie. I wish they would remake it.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you.
Okay, Dan. So 2 people have given us the same name, and then there's this one.
Yeah. And
So
then who else was there?
was Celebrity Jeremy and Galaxy Garage.
Yep. And then the other 2 were
Or was there 2?
from above. Yeah. Forgot who. GilkMan, right? Didn't he say? No, it was Celebrity Jeremy again.
Yeah.
I thought there was another one up there.
I don't recall there being more than 2. But I could be wrong, people. It's all good in the head. And so,
Give me a second. I'll be right back.
okay. Dan's got places to go, people to
Just
see.
pause my video. I don't know how to do that.
That's okay. I'll hold the fort here. And here we go. So, guys, it's me. GilkMan had it. Thank you, Celebrity Jeremy. And so Dan has decided on short notice with David as well, because we have just recently hit the 700 subscribers count, and we couldn't do that without all of you guys, of course. And we're so grateful for those that participate and watch and comment. Like, we appreciate all of you. And so we're having an impromptu giveaway. And so those that participated, we've got 3 then. With those that participated, we will randomly select which name. So you want me to do that now, Dan?
Sure, go ahead. Go for it.
Okay, let me enter into the thing here.
I'll close my eyes.
We'll basically spin the wheel. Let me shuffle things about.
Okay, I'll close my eyes while you do that.
I'm going to close my eyes too. Press the button. Well, I guess I kind of need to see if the wheel's going to spin. We have a winner is Galaxy Garage.
All right.
Excellent. Congratulations, Galaxy Garage. The wheel don't lie. It's
the wheel.
It's always been you. It's predestined by God that you would have had this answer. And thank you, Jacob Ironside. Yeah, it's exciting to have 700. We actually have a little over 700 subscribers now. And so we appreciate all of you. And thank you for watching. And so, Dan, I guess you're going to get a hold of him and tell him what he wins and all that cool stuff.
That's right. I will get a hold of you for your email address, because the prize is a surprise. So you're not even going to know what you're going to get until it gets to you, and then you open the gift.
You might get a pair of Dan's slightly used socks. You never
know. Maybe ones with holes in them.
Rogue Rogue Attraction, you are also close to the same amount of subscribers. Congratulations. He is hard working over there.
That's right. He is. He's a great guy.
When he's not being attacked by dolphins, he's doing good work. So.
Or trees.
Or trees. Subscribe to his channel if you enjoy theme park vlogging.
That's right. Theme parks are always fun.
So, well, that was our review of the new Pinocchio.
Yes.
Has anybody in the chat, I'm just curious, has anybody in the chat seen it? Like, does anybody share our thoughts? Have any of you guys actually watched it? Maybe you have kids and you were like,
I think the GilkMan saw it, because he had some good things to say about it.
It's true.
Because he did say he liked how Cynthia's role was. I believe
that's true.
He said that. So yeah.
This is true. Congratulations, Jacob Ironside. He said he's almost to 100. Awesome, awesome. Well, guys.
Sweet.
If you're new here, like Dan always says, be sure to hit the subscribe button, ring the bell to get notified of all of our upcoming videos. And we stream live from New York. not really. Well,
And
some
from
of us do.
North Carolina.
Some of us do. You could do that, Dan, live from New York.
Live from New York. It's
Inside the booth.
Dan the Law.
Dan, we got to do that. We live stream every Sunday and Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And join us this coming Sunday because we're going to be talking about a movie that I have yet to watch, The Last Samurai, Tom Cruise.
Oh,
Can he really pull this off, or should he just stick to climbing outside of windows and making cars explode? Find out.
Yes and yes and no and yes.
Yes.
All right, so I did like what Galaxy Garage said. I said no, and after watching this, I won't.
Hey, to each their own.
That's
You
right.
should watch it for the Blue Fairy at least.
Yeah, watch it for the Blue Fairy. She did a great job.
Mhm.
Except those 5 different wings on the top of each side. That was just kind
It did look a little bit ABC
It was like-
Disney.
Yeah, it was like distracting, you know?
yeah,
It was so strange. Oh, that's all right.
Hit the like button and guess what hat Dan will be wearing next time. You know, Dan might look completely different the next time he's on Inside.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. And remember, the 18th, we're going to have a cool review show, and it's going to be hopefully a lot of our Patreon members. So if you think that show is awesome when you're watching it, don't forget you can also become a Patreon member and
Join us.
join some of our shows once in a while.
So,
That's a
yeah.
perk.
That's the part. So yeah, Last Samurai on Sunday. Be there. We're gonna have an interesting conversation for sure.
That's it.
Thank you guys for coming.
Oh, I'm gonna do it. Sorry, my bad. I thought you were doing it. I don't know why. All right,
We're professionals here, guys.